So in a previous video, I showed you how to use string variables to store text and text representations of things like phone numbers. And we can do that, but we really want to also understand some different things that we can do with strings. So in this video, we're going to talk about verbatim strings. When we're storing text in a string variable, we can include things called escape sequences, which represent special characters. These can be things like tabs or new lines and are indicated using a backslash. So let me show you an example. So let's take a look at this string. And you can see something that Visual Studio is doing. Hopefully you can see this. It's very subtle, where Bob and Smith are a slightly different color than that backslash T that's in the middle of the string. And this is done to kind of help with some of the readability, which gets very difficult when we have lots of string stuff going on. Maybe you've got multiple tabs or things in a very long string. But what this is doing is it's putting Bob and then that escape sequence character backslash T for tab in the middle of that string. So if we displayed this maybe in the console, then you would actually see that tab happen. It would know that you wanted to actually have a tab character in there instead of a backslash T. So there's a lot of different escape sequences available. You can go out to the dev blog at Microsoft and follow the link in your resources to find the large number of escape sequences that you can use. But these are very handy because we can't usually include things like tabs directly into the string. And so this saves us time in formatting what otherwise would be a tedious process. I also mentioned backslashes, and this comes up a lot when we're storing file paths. So if we wanted to store the path to a file, maybe one of the folder names for something that you needed in your application, then we would have trouble because we can't just put backslashes in. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So like, let's say it's C televisions, Sony, Bravia.text, right? Hashtag not sponsored. So you can see right away the compiler is telling us that we can't have these backslashes in here because it thinks that we're looking for these escape sequences. So what we have to do is either go through and escape them out, which means we put double backslashes in to resolve the compiler error. And again, you can see the compiler is changing these ever so slightly. So the color is slightly different in those backslashes. But what else we can do is called a verbatim string. So anytime we have a string like this where there's multiple characters that we need to go through and escape out because they're going to cause a problem, we can put at the beginning of the string on the outside of that quote, the @ symbol. And this lets the compiler know that it needs to process this string verbatim, literal. So by putting that @ symbol in there, then we can have that as a verbatim string versus a literal string, which is like what we've done up here with the backslash tab. So understand the difference, understand why the compiler might be giving you errors if you're trying to put backslashes into your strings, or how we can use some of these different escape sequence characters in our strings when we need to be able to print out or format that kind of text. So work on that and practice that with some of the string exercises, and that way you'll understand maybe why the compiler is giving you a particular error or how to format your strings.